Well, shit. Looks like we are back for another episode of Gerald Lee be vlogging. Is really just the name of this playlist, not so much the name of the series, more so a descriptor of the series. Anyways, how are y'all? How's everybody doing? I think we made it to 100 followers. Woo! Like that's awesome. Like that's so cute. But we need to add a lot more zeros to that. Preferably like 3 to 4 more zeros. I'm talking 100,000. I'm talking a million. All right, we gonna get there. It's all right. With our powers combined, y'all just sounded off. Y'all need to make some noise in the comments, and y'all need to start sharing my stuff. What's I will Venmo you $1 if you share one of the clips from this or this episode to your Instagram story, okay? And go to my TikTok, repost those things, and you can repost reels now too. Listen, y'all got a lot of homework for this one, but we need to make it happen because I put a lot of work into this here very video, and it was really scary for me for some reason. I was really nervous to do this, but I powered through. At the end of the day, I powered through. Yes. Did I record it once as soon as I woke up in the morning at the crack of dawn when the lighting was beautiful and perfect, and record an entire hour and 45 minutes only to find out the audio was so beyond botched the video was not salvageable? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So did I then film it a second time but still said, "This is my first time?" Absolutely. So shut up. Shut up. I do think, however, unfortunately, the first time was better than the second time. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, what it was. I don't know what happened, but it happened. It happened. I did the makeup and I debuted my drag persona to the world, and you're gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to watch. I'm sorry to tell you that. You're gonna have to watch. But hey, I at least intermixed, interspersed, intertwined within the makeup the story of the time I was robbed at gunpoint in my house when I was living in New Orleans during undergrad. It's a good story. It's one of my favorite stories to tell, truly, and it kind of explains a lot about the way I am, which is if anybody fucks with me, I will kill you. I will go crazy. And yeah, I'm glad to have finally dipped my toes into the makeup world. I knew from an outside perspective, as someone who watches Trixie Mattel every Monday, like her channel, her makeup channel. I had an outside perspective of how crazy the makeup world was, but now that I've finally done it myself, it's a whole new world. Which and hey, look, if y'all can get this to the desk of Miss Trixie Mattel, I need to get in touch with her ASAP. One's for some products, absolutely, but two, maybe she could teach me a few things. That would be great if my adopted drag mother was Miss Trisha Mattel. Delta Tuft Hand Mattel. Delta Tuft Hand Mattel. That's me. That's me. All right, let's get into it. So it's May 2014. All right, classes just ended. It is one of my close friends' birthdays. So we decide to wake up at the crack of dawn to go tubing down some flooded river in some state park somewhere in Mississippi. And you might not know much about me personally, but that is not typically a thing I do. But it was a bunch of the boys, and I was excited to be a part of the boys. So I said, you know what? Let me go on this tubing trip. Now the living situation at the time was me and my cousin sharing one room, and we had two friends sharing the other room. That's right, we had four people in a two-bedroom house in what was affectionately known as the student ghetto, which was just the cropping of housing located just across campus. Now, mind you, this was public housing with families and people raising children and shit, not just students. So it never sat right with me that it was referred to as the student ghetto, but that's neither here nor there. Now, every single night leading up to the day of the tubing trip,
And the night of the home invasion, this same group of friends I went tubing with was always at my house until 2 or 3 in the morning. So the robbers really chose an opportune time when to strike. Like they really striked while the iron was hot. So it's the day of the tubing incident. Everything goes off without a hitch. It's a blast. We have a great time. Did each of us almost die at one point? Yes, absolutely. But hey, that's tubing for you. So we finally make it home around 5 or 6 o'clock, and everyone is exhausted. So no one stays to hang out. And my cousin and I go to bed around 8 o'clock because again, we were fighting for our life all day and we made it. So we were ready to rest. Thankfully this night our other two roommates were gone. So there's a lot of potential culprits in this situation on who could have sent these individuals, and we'll never find out who sent them, but just a lot of mysterious characters, okay? I'll be covering my face in the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. So let's cut to the robbery, shall we? It's like 1:32 in the morning, all right? Just to remind you, my cousin and I share a room. And here's a fun new fact. We just got a new puppy that was maybe a month or two old. Now, again, it's 1:32ish in the morning, and I wake up just like standing up out of my bed. I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, where you wake up like in motion to do something. So I I come to and finally come to my senses. I'm like, okay, what the hell am I standing up for? And as this thought courses through my brain, I hear a loud bang. I'm like, that cannot be good. That can't be good. That can't be a good bang. Can't be a good bang. And next thing I know, my dog is in the living room. So I'm like, okay, let's go investigate and see what this could possibly be. And as I'm making a step towards my dog that I could see through my door in the living room, I notice a masked man standing there in my living room. And my brain's like, hey, it's every man for himself. Good luck to that dog. Good luck to that man in the living room. And I slam my door shut. Now, right behind the door is my cousin's bed. On the other side of the room is my bed, okay? So I'm propping myself up against my cousin's bed, screaming at him to wake up while using the full weight of my body to hold the door shut as this masked man is slamming at the door trying to get in. Now we're going in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. So this man's slamming and slamming and slamming his way against my door. And I'm stomping to try to get the downstairs neighbors to wake up because we're on the second floor, mind you. No amount of sound that I'm making is doing anything to help. Nothing to wake up my cousin, nothing to wake up the downstairs neighbors. Just, I could keep making all the noise I wanted. No one was coming to help my ass. And so here I am, hooting and hollering, banging, making a noise. When finally, he stopped slamming. Finally, he stopped slamming. I'm like, okay, maybe he finally got the message that he's not getting through this door today. All right. I said, hold door. I'm holding this shit. You're not getting through. So the second I realize he's not slamming up against the door anymore, I try to go and shake the shit out of my cousin to finally wake his ass up. And the second I let off the door, that dickhead comes flying through. At this point, I notice he's in the middle of my room, and I'm like, baby, I'm not going out without a fight. So I shove him on my bed, and as I'm about to jump, I'm telling you, I was gonna swing on the back of his shit until he's either blind, dead, or otherwise incapacitated and won't have the wherewithal to burgle anyone ever again. Now I'm going in with some of the Milani Sun Kissed Silky Matte Bronzer. So just as I'm about to Spider-Man across this room and in this man's life, I hear, don't shoot, please don't shoot. I turn around, second burglar. Of course, there's two burglars, and this one got a shotgun in my face. So I'm like, all right, the jig is up. It is at this point in the evening where the man who is initially burst through the door and in my room decides to take over as speaker of the night, the MC of the evening. And he starts going off about how his name is, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, and how, he is such a big bad man. He's so bad. He's a big bad man. and how we need to call NOPD, and NOPD is gonna let us know that it was a miracle we survived. Blah 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 blah. This, that, and the other. And he's like, "Where's your fucking money? Where's your drugs?" We had not a penny, not a puff. We had nothing to our names. If I had pictures of the state of my house at the time of this burglary, y'all would have realized someone severely fucked up and picking our house. So again, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, whatever this young man's name was, starts acting the ass. Call NOPD, they know who I am. Call NOPD, they know who I am. Y'all gonna be lucky I'll make it out of here alive. This, that, and the other. Where's the money? Where's the drugs? Where's the money? Where's the drugs? I'm like, brother, we don't have nothing. Mind you, my cousin is still waking up. So he's like, where's your fucking wallets? Where's your wallets? So I find my wallet and I show him how there is nothing in it. I said, brother, I lost my debit card today. I can't even give you that to hit the ATM. And it's at this point where his associate begins to look through the rest of our stuff in our roommate's room. And they're searching, and guess what, baby? They're not finding nothing. Now, after about 5 to 10 minutes of this hoopla, they finally drag us into the living room. And he's like, y'all better find me some fucking drugs or some money. And at this point, my cousin's like, I could tell the light bulb went off in his head that we're gonna have to get these young gentlemen something, or they might truly actually kill us. So he offers up our roommate's Xbox 360 and some other paraphernalia we had lying around the house at the time, totaling about $1,200 worth of stuff. Now I'm about to go on with the Morph Mini Bacon set plus Halo Glow Powder. So we finally get like, a good amount of shit together and we're like, here, this is all we got before, the star of the show rips back into his tirade about how he knows we got drugs, he knows we got money, he knows we got this shit lying around. He just knows. He's like, I know y'all got drugs. I know y'all got money. Stop fucking with me. Like, this man's really hamming it up like he's trying to win an Oscar or something. And it's at this point where I've had enough. So I walk him over to our refrigerator and open it. I'm telling you, goose egg, zero, nothing, not a empty 12 pack of Coke, not a empty thing of sausages in the freezer, nothing. There were zero things in the fridge and freezer. I then open up our cabinets and I'm like, look, we don't even have canned goods, brother. We have no money. We have no drugs. And he goes, oh, we must have got the wrong house. If you don't get the fuck out of my house right now.
So it's at this point in the evening where this young gentleman realized he fucked up. So he decides to take whatever we gave him and his little homeboy, and they make their way out the back of the house.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, all right,
Thank God we're done. I know we're not calling the cops because what are they going to do for us? But at the very least, we can, start to figure out our next steps.
and before I can even take a breath, my cousin says, get dressed, grab the dog, we need to go. I look at him like, what are you in a rush for? The worst part already happened. And he said, brother, if someone sent them here for drugs and money and they left without drugs and money, they're going to send them back to kill us. It is at this point where I realized the severity of our situation. So I go ahead, get dressed, I grab that dog, and 2 minutes after those motherfuckers had left our house, we pretty much trailing right behind them.
Now it is about 2 o'clock, 2:33 in the morning. Me, my cousin, and this damn dog are creeping our way through the backyards of this neighborhood to make our way to campus because we're afraid that whoever sent these two hoodlums into our house was just gonna bump into us on the road and take us out there. So just imagine me sneaking my way in some damn Crocs and PJs through the backyards of what was known as the student ghetto to get to the University of New Orleans campus at 3 in the morning in the middle of May. It was hot, sticky, gross. I didn't even have time to cry. I was too frustrated. I was too confused about what was fully going on. I'm going to use the Elfin Credit Curl for my mascara, this
pinky swear crayon contour for my lips, and then this delicious glow reviver lip oil for my for my lip oil. And I'm gonna go put this on real quick, hit it with some setting spray, hit y'all with the wig, drag reveal name, and then I'm gonna wrap up the story. I'll see you in a few seconds. Welcome to the stage, Delta Tuft Hand. Yes, that's right. My drag persona, my drag name, Miss Delta Tuft Hand. You know, life might have dealt her a tough hand, but she's gonna make it work, okay? She has a few tricks up her sleeve, honey. So to put a point on that story, it was a great, beautiful, fun day with all my friends, right? Celebrating a birthday, celebrating the start of summer and the end of the school year. I then, for some reason, on this chosen night, the one night that these same friends aren't there until 3 in the morning, and the same night neither of our roommates are home, we get robbed at gunpoint. We being my cousin and I. After about 15 to 20 minutes of the one part of the robbing duo saying, "Give me all the drugs, give me your money, where's your drugs, where's your money? My name is Jean Jacques Germain Dupree III, and the NOPD knows about me." After about 15 minutes of him doing that and his little partner just pointing a gun at us, did I finally get him to realize we have no drugs, we have no money, we have no food. And after again showing them an empty refrigerator, an empty cabinet, they decide maybe we did get the wrong house. So let's leave with this brand new Xbox 360, the controllers, the video games, and about 1,200 additional dollars worth of paraphernalia and get out of here before we waste too much more time. After the burglars leave, my cousin's like, we need to go as well because if someone sent them here for drugs and money and they didn't leave with drugs and money, they're gonna come back to kill us. So again, it's about 2:33 in the morning at this point. We safely make it to campus, and after about 10 minutes of calling people, I finally get someone to wake up and come pick us up from campus. We we returned to that house maybe once or twice to go pick up some stuff, but after that, we moved into a gated apartment complex, which really that's a story for another day. So yeah, that's the story of the time I was robbed at gunpoint in my house while I did drag makeup for the first time. I hope the story was coherent. I hope this look isn't too scary. Let me know in the comments. Let me know about my look. Let me know about the products I used. Is there someone I should watch? Is there some tutorials I should watch? I tried Plastic Tiara. I watched some Trixie Mattel. I watched this British drag queen that I couldn't watch too much because she started getting on my nerves. But like what should I do? Let me know. Like rate this look. Is Delta Tuft Ham like? Is this something I should put some